Archangel Michael says, it's an emergency. Don't try to ignore this. The person you love deeply will never let you know this bitter truth. Everyone except you knows what happened last night. Open it immediately. My precious child, pause right now, just stop. Stop running away from the signals, stop silencing the voice inside you, stop pretending you didn't feel that sudden shift last night, that strange unrest in your spirit, that tightened your breath and left your heart aching. That wasn't just a coincidence, that wasn't nothing, that was me trying to catch your attention, and now I must say it without restraint. This isn't just another passing message, this is urgent. You love them, yes, I see that clearly, I know, I heard every prayer you whispered into the silence, hoping no one else would hear. I saw you open your heart wide for them, even after you swore you'd never let it happen again. But beloved, they are keeping something from you, a truth they're convinced you'll never discover. And the hardest part, everyone else already knows it, everyone but you. That's why I've been trying to reach you since last night, that's why the signs won't stop, why this message has found you right now, because the truth is real, it's tangled, it's painful, but it belongs to you. No matter how deeply this person loves you, they are too afraid to say it. They think you'll walk away if you ever find out. They fear the silence that will come after your discovery. They dread your hurt, your quiet heartbreak, your tears. But God is not afraid, and I, Archangel Michael, refuse to let you stay in the shadows, while others watch you live in something less than real. You deserve full truth, full clarity, and you deserve it now. So don't look away, don't ignore this, you may not get another chance like this again. If your chest is heavy, if your spirit is leaning in, stop everything, subscribe. This message isn't coincidence, it was divinely directed to you. What you're about to hear could be the turning point that leads your life into its miracle season. Now listen closely. The one you loved last night changed everything for them. A conversation occurred without your knowledge. Your name was brought up. And the secret they've been hiding, it slipped out. It wasn't planned, but heaven orchestrated it. Now they're overwhelmed, not because they don't love you, but because their love is too deep for their honesty to match. And that's where it cuts the most. You gave your heart to someone who looks at you with something hidden behind their smile. But don't even for a moment believe that God isn't working right now. God is unveiling truths, God is revealing quiet messages, unopened texts, hushed confessions. Something cracked open in the spirit realm last night. A barrier lifted. And your name was spoken, by someone who should have never even known about you. That knowledge has started moving, carried through people you've never met. A ripple of energy is flowing straight to your heart. Yes, this truth was meant for you, no, it's not too late, but only if you don't stop listening. There's something powerful in you, they didn't anticipate. You were supposed to be loved from a distance, harmless, quiet, untouched. But you became their calm, their comfort, their only safe place. Suddenly hiding things from you began to feel like betrayal. That's what kept them up last night, that's what broke them down when they were alone, that's what made them whisper their first prayer, in a very long time. They asked me to protect you, even if they couldn't be completely honest. But I don't operate through secrecy, I move through truth. And here's that truth, you are being shielded, watched over, and intensely guided right now. The moment your eyes touched this message, heaven began to move, not because you're fragile, but because your heart has been carrying too much, for too long. And now it's time you received the answers you never dared speak. Let me say what others are too afraid to. The betrayal wasn't physical, it was subtle, emotional, a silent choice made in a fleeting moment. A conversation that never should have happened. Someone asked them a question, and they paused. In that pause, your name was replaced by silence. And someone noticed, someone unexpected. And now they're watching you, waiting to see what you'll do when you find out. Because your reaction, it will shift everything. But here's the part they never realized, you already felt it. That's why your dreams have been off, that's why your gut twisted, when they said everything's fine. That's why that song you once loved, suddenly made you cry. You always knew, your soul was receiving messages, your mind couldn't decode. But heaven understood, I understood. That's why this message has found you, at this very moment, not before, not after, because now your heart is finally strong enough to hold the truth. You're not losing anything, you're being delivered. Delivered from false affection, released from unspoken burdens, freed from a journey that was never meant for you to carry. And hear me now, this message isn't here to shake you with fear. It's meant to ready you, because the one you love is about to reach out, in a way they never have. When they do, they'll either cover the truth, or confess it. But you, my precious one, you will already know. You'll see it in their gaze, you'll feel it between the lines of what they say. And in that moment, you'll know this was your moment to rise. There's even more than you realize, another presence is involved, someone envious of your light. Last night they said something they had no right to say. And now the aftermath is in motion. That's why your energy feels off, that's why your spirit aches out of nowhere. You're experiencing the echo of words whispered in secrecy. But the grace God is already undoing it. I, Archangel Michael, am standing as a shield, between you and that harm. I'm guarding your soul, your path, your purpose. This will not ruin you, it will wake you. Now ask yourself, what if the one you love only causes pain, because they fear that the truth will make you leave? What if last night was heaven's design, to set you free from confusion you didn't know was holding you down? What if this message is the one warning, before everything begins to change? Don't ignore it, don't keep scrolling, don't shut down the voice inside you. This is not about punishment, it's about protection. This isn't about what you'll lose, it's about what you'll gain. It isn't the end, it's the beginning of something sacred, that's arriving cloaked in heartbreak. And hear me, something is coming, someone will enter your life soon, quietly, unexpectedly, and their words will confirm everything you've just read. When they do, you'll know this wasn't random. This was heaven standing in the gap for you. This was the divine stepping in, this was love fighting for you. They love you, but they are afraid. And in their fear, they've acted in ways that your spirit never deserved. And now you must decide, will you wait for their truth, or will you walk in the one already written inside you? The lies trembled, and the energy around you shifted. You felt it, even if you couldn't explain it. A tension that settled in your chest, a thought that wouldn't quiet down, a silence from someone you love, that suddenly felt louder than words. That was the moment heaven intervened, that was when everything began to stir behind the scenes. The illusion started to crack, and the truth began to push its way into the light. You see, child, when heaven decides it's time for revelation, nothing and no one can stop it. Not the fears they carry, not the secrets they've buried, not the lies they rehearsed. That moment you felt last night, that wasn't just intuition, that was divine clarity beginning to bloom. And now as you read this, you're being given what many never receive, the clarity to choose differently, before more damage is done. You're not standing on the edge of heartbreak, you're standing at the threshold of transformation. The whispers that kept you awake, the aching in your soul, the repeated dreams, they were not coincidences. They were warnings wrapped in love, gentle nudges, trying to prepare you for this very moment. And now that you're here, now that your eyes are open, the heavens can do what they've been waiting to do, begin your rescue. Not from the person you love, but from the illusion that loving them meant accepting half of the truth. So breathe, child, you're not being punished, you're being positioned. Positioned for clarity, positioned for truth, positioned for peace. This next chapter of your life is going to demand more from you, not more pain, but more awareness, more strength, more willingness to believe in your worth. Because the moment you begin to see your value clearly, the lies lose their grip, the silence becomes unbearable, and the half-hearted love begins to feel like starvation. The person you love, they're wrestling with this too. Don't think for a second that they're at peace. Their spirit is troubled, their dreams are heavy. Because when someone loves you but hides from you, their soul splits into pieces. And those pieces are crying now, not just from guilt, but from fear. Fear that you're waking up, fear that you'll finally see what they couldn't say. And fear that once you do, you won't choose them again. But child, this isn't about revenge, it's not about punishment, it's about freedom. Because your heart deserves to be safe, your mind deserves to rest, your spirit deserves to dance in truth. And nothing hidden, no matter how long it's been concealed, can survive once the light arrives. That's why you're here, that's why this message found you, and that's why you must pay attention now, more than ever. The next few days will be revealing, watch closely, listen with your spirit. Someone's going to say something out of nowhere, a detail will slip, a truth will surface where you least expect it. And when it does, you'll realize that God was never silent, the signs were always there, you just hadn't reached the moment, where you were strong enough to understand them. But that moment has arrived. And child, it's not just your relationship that's shifting, it's your identity. The way you see yourself, the way you've accepted less, just to keep peace. The way you've tolerated confusion, because you loved too deeply to walk away. That version of you, the one who doubted, who stayed quiet, who smiled through discomfort, is being shed. What's emerging now is stronger, clearer, brighter. You are not here to carry the emotional weight of someone else's fear. You are not required to shrink so they can feel safe in their silence. You are here to rise, to feel, to confront, to heal. And if they cannot meet you in that place of honesty, then heaven will not let you stay in a place of uncertainty. Because uncertainty is not love, confusion is not peace, silence is not safety. Let me tell you what's coming, restoration. But not in the way you think. This restoration begins with you, you reclaiming your clarity, you returning to your intuition, you finally believing what your soul has been screaming all along. The healing begins not when they tell you the truth, but when you stop pretending you didn't already know it. Yes, they love you, but their love is layered with fear. Yes, they care, but their care has cracks. And yes, they want you, but only if you don't ask for the truth. But you can't afford that anymore. Your purpose is too great, your calling too urgent, your peace too sacred. And that's why heaven has moved everything to bring you here. So be still now, let the truth settle, let your soul exhale, let the weight of pretending fall off your shoulders. You were never meant to carry what they refuse to say. You were never created to be an emotional detective, constantly decoding mixed signals and uncertain silences. You are meant to be cherished in clarity, you are meant to be chosen without condition. They almost told you, they almost came clean. But fear stopped them. So now heaven has stepped in. And child, when heaven speaks, the world listens. When heaven moves, mountains shift. And what's being moved right now, is everything that was keeping you in limbo. Watch how things begin to change, watch how what was hidden starts to reveal itself. Watch how suddenly your spirit feels lighter, not because you've gotten the full truth, but because you've finally stopped denying what you already knew. And when they come, and they will, you'll listen with new ears. You'll see through words, you'll sense what's missing, and you'll know what choice to make. This time it won't be based on fear, it won't be about what you're afraid to lose. It will be about what you now know you deserve. And that knowing is your power. You are not walking away from love, you are walking toward truth. And if love remains on that path, then it will walk with you. But if it refuses to face the light, then let it stay in the shadows, because your light cannot wait any longer. This is your time, this is your turning point. The emergency wasn't a situation, it was your soul asking heaven for rescue, and now heaven has answered. Keep your heart open, but keep your spirit grounded. Be soft, but don't ignore the signs. And whatever happens next, remember this, you didn't come this far to stay silent. You came this far to break cycles, to rewrite endings, to demand what your spirit always deserved. So rise, not in anger, but in truth. Walk forward, not in fear, but in clarity. And trust that everything that unfolds from here, will be guided, guarded, and aligned with the divine plan written just for you. The pattern breaking, a cycle ending, a spiritual contract being rewritten. And not because of revenge, but because of restoration. You were never meant to keep repeating the same heartache in different forms. You were never meant to stay in a loop of almosts, of silence, of being close to the truth, but never holding it. Heaven stepped in last night, because your spirit cried out louder than ever, and the angels could not ignore the sound. It was a soul-level cry, a help me see, from the depths of your being. And so they showed you, not all at once, but enough to set you free. And child, you need to understand this, they didn't just lie to you. They lied to themselves first. They convinced themselves that silence was kindness, that hiding the truth was protection. But you were never fragile, you were never too weak to handle what was real. You were only too sacred to be handed scraps of honesty. And now the light of truth is surrounding you. It may feel harsh, it may sting, but it's healing you in ways words never could. It's clearing space in your soul. Space for something real, for someone whose honesty won't cost you your peace, for a love that tells the truth even when it's hard. And yes, they'll feel it. The person who stayed quiet, the one who let the lie linger, they'll feel the shift. At first they'll try to act normal, they'll try to talk like nothing happened. But something in their voice will shake, something in their presence will falter. Because energy never lies. And when your spirit starts rising, even their shadows will tremble. They'll remember every moment they chose comfort over clarity. And while you won't seek revenge, heaven will ensure they see the cost of what they withheld. But you, child, you'll be too busy glowing to notice, too busy stepping into alignment, to keep replaying what they did. This is what divine alignment looks like. It looks like separation before elevation. It looks like discomfort before destiny. And it looks like you finally listening to your own soul, more than someone else's silence. And here's what I need you to know, this moment didn't come to break you. It came to break everything that ever made you feel small. The version of you that begged for clarity, that twisted yourself to be enough, that waited by the phone, that forgave before hearing the truth, she's fading now. And in her place rises someone radiant, someone rooted, someone ready for what's next. And what's next, child, is sacred. It doesn't come with secrets, it doesn't make you question your worth, it doesn't keep you waiting for the full story. It speaks in light, it moves with peace, it holds your heart like a promise, and your name like a prayer. This isn't a dream, it's your destiny. And it begins when you stop chasing clarity from those who only know confusion. It begins when you realize that silence is an answer, and that your spirit deserves more than waiting for someone to grow brave enough to tell the truth. You are not cruel for walking away, you are not heartless for choosing peace, you are not selfish for releasing what was never honest. This is your moment to rise without apology. To stop explaining your intuition. To stop shrinking your spirit, to fit someone else's shadows. Let them think what they want, let them whisper, let them wonder. You don't owe them understanding, when they never offered it to you. What you owe yourself now is space. Room to breathe, to heal, to open your hands, and receive what God has been holding for you, while you kept settling. Because what's coming next will not confuse you, it won't make you feel like you're too much or not enough. It will arrive in truth, it will stay in clarity, it will love you in the light. And child, when that love arrives, and it won't ask you to pretend. It won't punish you for your past. It won't hide behind vague words or half-truths. It will speak boldly, it will see you clearly, it will feel like home. But before that love enters, heaven needs you to see why the old one had to break. Why the silence had to scream, why the truth had to find you in the way it did. Because without that awakening, you would have kept waiting. You would have kept giving your light to someone who wasn't ready to hold it. And now you're not waiting anymore, you're not shrinking, you're not wondering. You're remembering who you are, what you carry, why the truth matters, why your peace matters more than their comfort. You're remembering that love doesn't have to be earned through pain, that clarity isn't a privilege, it's your birthright. And now heaven is opening the path. You'll start seeing things clearly, people, situations, patterns. You'll hear things in conversations that used to confuse you, and now they'll suddenly make sense. That's discernment, that's divine wisdom, that's your gift returning to you, now that the fog has lifted. And yes, the person who lied will feel it. They'll feel the door closing, even if you never slam it. They'll sense your spirit pulling back, even if you're still kind. Because love with boundaries feels different. It has a silence of its own, not the silence of secrets, but the silence of sovereignty, of sacred knowing. And they will know, they will feel what they lost. But by then, child, you will have already begun walking into the new. Into the calm after the storm, into the soft light of a life that no longer hurts to hold. There is no need to rush, let it unfold, let the healing do its work, let your tears water the new seeds. You are becoming even in your stillness, even in your heartbreak, especially there. The truth that hurt you, is now the truth that is lifting you. Let it change the way you choose, let it refine the way you love, let it teach you, that real love does not fear the truth, it speaks it. And you, child, you are worthy of that kind of love. The honest kind, the clear kind, the kind that stays in the room when things get real, the kind that doesn't just want your light, but also honors your wounds. So walk forward now, walk gently but boldly. This is not the end of your story, it's the unveiling. The turning of a sacred page. The chapter where you stop questioning if you're worthy, and start knowing you are. The chapter where peace returns, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally are. You are whole, you are healing, and you are heading exactly where heaven always meant to take you. And yes, child, this is your divine turning point, not because something external has suddenly changed, but because you have changed. Your eyes are no longer closed, your heart is no longer naive, your spirit is no longer willing to bargain with the bare minimum. That was the version of you that loved blindly, waited endlessly, and hoped quietly. But the version of you standing here now, is awake, aware, and aligned with truth. And when you're aligned with truth, anything that isn't rooted in honesty begins to fall away, not out of cruelty, but out of divine necessity. And let me tell you what that means. It means you're about to walk lighter, it means you're about to laugh louder, it means your prayers are about to be answered, in ways that finally make sense, not in riddles, not in silence, not in shadows, but in clarity. And no, that doesn't mean the people who hurt you will apologize. Some won't, some can't. Because acknowledging what they did, would require them to face a version of themselves, they've spent years avoiding. But that's not your burden anymore, you've carried it long enough. You've replayed their choices in your head, looking for what you did wrong, but child, it was never your flaw that caused their silence. It was their fear, their shame, their inability to stand beside the kind of love that demanded truth. So now God steps in, not to punish them, but to lift you. Because the elevation you're about to walk into, requires clear skies, not cloudy connections. And that's why it all feels so heavy right now, that's why your dreams have been intense, that's why your emotions have been swirling, that's why you've been waking up in the middle of the night, with a heart that beats like it knows something's coming. Because it does, your spirit is preparing for the arrival of something, that is no longer based in potential, but in purpose. And while it may still ache, this letting go, this silence from someone you once held so close, remember this, their absence created the space for your miracle. Their silence built the room for your clarity, and their inability to love you fully, reveal just how deeply you are meant to be loved. You see, real love doesn't hide, real love doesn't delay, real love doesn't need you to prove your worth over and over, real love walks in truth, not convenience. So breathe, child, just breathe. Because the page is turning now, and with it comes a softness you haven't felt in years. A peace you thought was reserved for other people. A stillness that no longer feels like waiting, but like trusting. Because that's what you're doing now, trusting. Not them, not the past, not even your own understanding. You are trusting God, you are trusting that if this was removed, something more aligned is being released in its place. Let this be your grounding truth. You were not rejected, you were redirected. You were not abandoned, you were reassigned. Because your purpose is too divine, to be stuck in places where love comes with conditions. You are not here to be questioned, you are not here to be silenced, you are not here to be loved only when convenient. You are here to be honored, you are here to be celebrated, you are here to be held with a reverence that doesn't change depending on the day. And what's more, someone is being prepared to do exactly that. Someone is being shown your name, not in a text message, not in a memory, but in prayer. Someone is dreaming of a love that doesn't hide, and they're on their way to you. And when they arrive, there will be no confusion, no unfinished sentences, no "you should have known." There will only be presence, clarity, joy, and a deep knowing that this is what God had in mind when He asked you to let go. But until then, give yourself the permission to feel, to grieve, to forgive, and most importantly, to celebrate yourself for surviving all that silence. For not shrinking into their lack of communication, for still showing up with love, even when love wasn't given in return. That's not weakness, child, that's divinity. That's why heaven never stopped fighting for you. That's why angels stood on alert, when your name was spoken without honor. That's why the entire spiritual realm paused, to send this message, because your heart matters that much. So here's your final whisper tonight. You are already everything someone is praying for. You are already the answered prayer. You are already the miracle walking in skin. So don't dim your light, just because someone else chose to live in shadows. Don't shrink, just because they couldn't expand with you. You are rising, you are glowing, you are loved. And from this moment forward, may every step you take be in the direction of what honors your soul, aligns with your truth, and blesses your future. Amen.